Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's very special Leader Lunch Break, where we are thrilled to celebrate all that has happened with Accelerate in the 6 days since it took place at the Huntington Convention Center. We're thrilled that joining us today are Brittany O'Connor, our true Accelerate champion at Citizens. When she's not cheering on inspiration, innovation, and pictures, Brittany serves as the Vice President and Regional Public Affairs Market Manager at Citizens. And we're also thrilled to have our very special guest, Anycia Grady, who was the winner of Accelerate this year with Seeking Supervision. And you'll be hearing a lot more about that momentarily. Before we jump into it, I just want to give you a little bit of background about Accelerate. We launched Accelerate for the first time in 2015. We thought that doing this event was a true manifestation of our mission to believe in the power of people to create positive change. And it has truly accomplished that. You can visit our website and see all that past presenters and past winners have done with the ideas that they shared. This year's event was spectacular. Thanks to the amazing efforts of the Cleveland Leadership Center team, we welcomed 32 pitches and over 550 people to the convention center to hear about the ideas for positive change for Cleveland. Some of you on this call had the courage, and yes, it does take courage to develop and share a pitch. Others of you were there supporting them, and others maybe just joined today to get a taste of what this is like. And to show you a little bit of what Accelerate held, pictures speak 1,000 words. So we have a video we want to share before we turn it over to Brittany and Anycia.
About to announce the finalists for Accelerate 2023. Our finalist in Cleveland Experiences and Excursions is Another Homegirl, Maisha Watkins. Soundbender Institute, Stephen Pruitt and Keenan Williams. Universal Basic Employment and Opportunity, Devin Cotton. Peer Support Student Services, Dante Jones. Seeking Supervision, Anycia Grady. Clean and Beautiful Cleveland, Nancy Jones and Tracy Bellum.
The first Teen Accelerate competition. Runner-up this evening, Anshul Sharma from University School. In first place, we have Ella Metallic.
And the winner is Anycia Grady.
So how fun was that? Filled with energy and enthusiasm and excitement and loads of teens, but most of all of you there to share your great ideas, and with gratitude towards Citizens. Brittany, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mary Ann, and thank you to everybody at the Cleveland Leadership Center for bringing us this event every year. We're really excited to be part of it, and big reason for that is that we champion innovation here at Citizens, and what a great way to celebrate our civic innovators, bringing them together, helping people make connections, and hopefully win some prize money to launch their ideas. So thanks for letting us join you in that. And I'm thrilled to be here today in conversation with Anycia Grady. I'm going to introduce her here in just a second, but I do want to say that was a fantastic video. It gave me goosebumps, actually, even though it was just last week. I still felt goosebumpy watching that again. So Anycia Grady is a clinically licensed social worker and owner of her own private practice, 2020 Life Counseling, and her nonprofit organization, Cable. The mission Anycia has set out to do is to support her community's mental health crisis by advancing professional development to create community change. When not working or advocating, she spends quality time with her 8-year-old son, Devery, watching movies, cooking, and having life conversations. And on the weekends, she spends her time roller skating as a form of self-care. So thank you for being in conversation with us today and telling us more about your project. So you were the big winner of Accelerate just last week with your pitch, Seeking Supervision. You won $5,000 in the overall competition by audience vote among 6 finalists, but you also won another $3,500 in the Technovation competition that's sponsored by the Cleveland Foundation. I think that was looking for the Leadership Center people to not shake their head yes or no, but I think that was the first time we had a winner of both parts of the competition, one winner. So congratulations, you set a record there. And that Technovation is for initiatives that leverage technology to address a community problem. So congratulations. So your pitch was in the health and well-being category, and want you to tell us a little bit more about the idea and what's the need that you're seeking to address with it.
Yes, thank you so much, Brittany, for this opportunity. So Seeking Supervision was birthed about 3 or 4 years ago. Just having conversations with colleagues and also to my own experience, as I shared in my pitch, it took me a hefty 8 years to get all of the clinical hours that I needed in order to gain clinical licensure to advance career-wise. And so I was just looking at ways in which to support either my colleagues who were, had been working in the field for years, to see if there was anything available for us to be able to advance, and there wasn't. And so it just came, I guess, a little bit of a creative, and it was one of those things. It's like, there should be an app for this. There should be a central location for us to be able to identify, because at one point I had someone in Coshocton, to be able to get some supervision hours. And so post-pandemic, as a therapist, saw that there was an increase in help-seeking behaviors, and individuals were looking for support, and there just wasn't enough of us. And in my mind, when I think of health disparities, the gaps, a lot of it is, especially with the Black community, has been referenced with, the desirability to seek out support. But I wanted to see, is this something more so of an access issue? Because if there's not enough of us, then how can people access the care? And so that's kind of how it came about, to bringing about the vision from 4 years ago to fruition now.
That's great. It's a perfect example of a real life experience you've had. You see this problem and you have an idea to address it. So what do you see as the potential impact of seeking supervision? If you look out a year or 2 years, what do you see as the impact?
So it's multi-layered. In the immediate, my focus is on those who are currently bachelor's level licensed, who are hoping to get those hours, but maybe because it's hard to identify a supervisor, that we can get them into, their supervision experiences and get them, qualify for their licensing exams and out into the community. Next level is accessing those students who are in colleges, who are in need of connecting with a supervisor. Maybe they're, sometimes after graduation, there's this gap of trying to find a job. So maybe having that opportunity to be able to connect with someone, to be able to begin that process. And then long-term, even from just a professional standpoint, that increases provider output. And ultimately, with increased provider output, increasing client access to being able to pursue care and support. Because if there's more of us, there will be more access. And when I did the numbers, crunching the numbers, it could potentially impact, at least in Ohio, 1.4 million individuals who could potentially have access to care if we are able to support those currently bachelor's level student licensing needs.
That's great. And mental health care is something we're hearing about all the time, the need for it. So you won money, that's seed money to help you launch, and you just talked about access to students. So what else do you need to keep moving this along? Is it connections with colleges and universities? How do you reach the students? What do you think you need as you think about the problem?
Yes, I definitely think there is a need for networking, collaborative conversations. There was a question proposed in by one of the judges of talking with the state of Ohio. And I am not opposed to advocating if there is a connection that could get me in the door. So yes, it would be talking with the dean of schools in programming to be able to have those conversations of how this app can support those students who are going to be graduating. And so yes, definitely is necessary is having those collaborative efforts.
Trying to find my mute button because I'm trying to stay on mute while you're talking to not interrupt you. Thank you for that answer. And we'll circle back to that here in a few minutes, but let's talk about your experience with Accelerate then. How did you learn about Accelerate? How did you hear about the pitch competition?
Well, my wonderful mentor, Patsy, she suggested it for me about a year or so ago. We would meet at Panera and just kind of have a brain dump of conversation, just where things are career-wise. And she suggested Accelerate. And I was like, I'm not sure. That sounds a bit outside of my comfort zone.
Can I add, Anycia, I think I heard you say you did a great radio interview yesterday with Idea Stream. So if people haven't heard it, they can look for that. And I think you said you're an introvert. I heard you say that in the interview. So talk about that. So you had to say, I don't think this is for me, but you did apply.
I did. I had to move beyond my box of comfort in order to support my community. And that's something that I share not only with just myself, but other therapists, because it's not uncommon to find therapists who are more introverted than extroverted. I do well with one-on-one dialogue. So the last time I stood on a stage in front of individuals was second grade. So it was definitely an experience, but I definitely had to move beyond that because the need was greater than my comfort. And so I had to push myself out of my comfort zone in order to create the change.
Well, I'm glad you applied. And I know a little bit about what you're talking about after an event like Accelerate, and I wasn't even on stage, but just all the great energy and the networking. I feel like I need to sleep for 12 hours. So I hope that you've been able to recuperate from all that energy that you used that night. So talk a little bit more about the event last week. So you applied, you submitted your pitch. It was part of the process for people who might not know is that a selection committee helps vet the pitches and narrow them down for the categories. And then you do have an opportunity to take advantage of some coaching. Did you take advantage of that? And what was that like?
I did. I had an opportunity to do the first coaching. The second one, my schedule didn't align, but I think that it was an awesome resource because my pitch was a 180 from what I had presented. I'm a social worker, so I speak in social work therapy language. But going to that experience I was able to receive feedback and going back to the drawing board and bringing what I had already had and adjusting it and modifying it so that it can speak to the community and not just my clients, to speak to those who I can have those collaborative conversations with, who from a business standpoint as well would be able to see, like, I see value in this. And so it really helped me to think bigger picture as opposed to just on a mental health standpoint. So it definitely was of value. And I recommend anybody in the future who has an opportunity to do Accelerate to participate in that, because it definitely is a helpful resource.
Well, that's a great endorsement. And I think the Cleveland Leadership Center has done a great job of building in these parts of the program that help you all to be more successful in your pitches, which is great. So we're there at the event last week. You march down the stairs with that fabulous jazz band and into the big room, make your pitch again. How did it feel to have your name announced as the winner?
If they could have caught me on the seat, I did like a jump. I definitely was surprised. Both times, there were amazing pitches and ideas that went forth, and it was surreal. And I still pinch myself because it still doesn't feel real. And so I was shocked, to say the least.
So I might have a guess as how you might answer this, but I want to hear what you have to say. What did you learn about yourself in this process?
I learned to give myself more credit than I have been. After the experience, because a few of my fellow Accelerate cohort saw me nervously walking around. And after the debrief that I had with my family and my close friends, they said, Anycia, you need to give yourself more credit where it's due, because I tend to feel more comfortable supporting and pushing other people forward. I feel like that's a part of who I am. Calling is one of the reasons I'm in therapy, but being able to see and witness just in an experience that I'm capable of even propelling myself forward. And so it was awareness of like, Anycia, you are able to be here. You are of value. You can be on stages such as this to move your vision, your goals forward. And so I learned that and more so accepted it, I think, in that moment that night, because sometimes, you can question like that imposter syndrome. Am I supposed to be here? And so that really brought to light that, yes, I am.
That's great. So you talked a little bit about this, but the next round of Accelerate starts in November when we have a call for pitches. This will be for the next round of Accelerate. What advice do you have for someone with an idea to strengthen our community and considering submitting a pitch? What advice would you give them?
One, to just go for it. But also two is really have your why. I think that resonates with people when you can connect your idea to your why. This is more than just creating numbers. It's really about change and advocating. It's just something that I love. That's why I'm in the field. And so I would encourage is really internally do a check. Is my why, in alignment with what I'm trying to create? And I think that will speak through your application, and then also too, as you're building your pitch, and then connecting with the community. So.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with the kinds of applications we've gotten over the years as we've gotten more visibility for this program, and having people like you to speak about it really helps to spread that message. So thanks for that. So we talked about, I'll just say, we're going to take questions from the audience. So if you have questions, be sure to put them in the chat, and Rachel's going to moderate that here in a minute. But in terms of next steps, you talked about what you need. People that are listening to you here, people that have heard you on Idea Stream, they're going to see you on TV interviews coming up soon. And so you'll keep spreading that word. How do we get in touch with you? We can get in touch with you through the Cleveland Leadership Center. How else can we follow your progress and stay in touch?
You can connect with me via my Instagram, which is @Cabel, CABEL _Ohio. You can feel free to email me at tricordcable, so TIRCORDCABEL @gmail.com. And I think maybe through the Cleveland Leadership Center, but those are the two main.
They know how to find you.
The direct ways of connecting with with myself with regard to updates for progress with the platform.
Great. And I'm going to turn it over to Rachel, but I just want to thank you again for joining this process with us, for bringing this forward. It's been great to meet you, and I look forward to following your progress in the coming months.
Thank you.
Rachel?
Brittany, thank you. Thanks for guiding such a great conversation. And Anycia, again, we are so happy to have you as part of our Accelerate family. So probably the most pressing question that has come in is, so what are your next steps? How are you going to start those steps to implement the platform?
Yes. So about a year ago, I had a foundational conversation with the forum group. And immediately after the pitch, connected with my mentor, and I said, it's time. And so I did outreach the forum group to begin having furthering conversations. And also to just continuing, crowdfunding to be able to support the app development. Next steps is, applying for additional, grant funding and things of that nature. So really, this stage right now is to get things a foundation in order to launch, and hopefully when the crowdfunding process is over, which is in June, then be able to begin to build, and hopefully by next year to have something for the community, if not giving updates as to where things are, because app development can be, could take time with the algorithms. I'm not tech driven, but so yeah.
So as you reflect on this experience with Accelerate from the time that you applied through the end of the event last Thursday, what was the biggest aha moment for you through this experience?
I think maybe it was after the first pitch that I did. I think that's when it all just congealed together, of the idea, the dream, the application, and then doing the pitch. It's like, okay, a dream has now become a vision. And so that, I think after the first pitch that I did for Technovation, I think that's when the aha moment, like, this is real. And a dream that I have is now manifesting as a vision, because a vision without the plan is a dream, and now the plan can be executed.
And let's talk a little bit about you. So you are a mental health therapist in that social work field. Can you talk a little bit more about the work that you do and what brought you to this field?
Yes. So I've been in mental health for 13 years. I went into the field. I've always known I wanted to support individuals with mental health since I think was my sophomore year in college, in advocating while working at a summer job, seeing some challenging, witnessing some challenging interactions with staff and a consumer.
Anycia, I think you may have frozen up a little bit on us here. Give a moment to see.
In that capacity, and also to supporting with training interns in, launching into the field in private practice in trauma and anxiety. So that's a little bit about overview of my mental health. But
so that night of the event and since, what has been some of the feedback or the responses that you've gotten since starting to share this idea?
Oh, a lot. There's definitely been a lot of, this is definitely needed. it's kind of one of those things, as I'm hearing people are like, it's one of those like, why was this never a thing type of ideas. But I think that everyone is seeing the value in the purpose of seeking supervision, and are hopeful that this will be able to support not just professionals, but also to the community. So definitely a lot of supporters, and those who are excited to see it come to fruition.
What was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome along the way to the event itself?
Oh, it was my pitch. I probably adjusted it up until the week before. And so just kind of like not modifying it for the 30th time, I think was the biggest for me, because I wanted to be right. And also too, with making it succinct in 5 minutes, I wanted it to reflect accurately what I was trying to convey. And I can be verbose. And so it was a hard task.
Also have a question here about the additional funding and that you were seeking. Are you looking to local foundations, other sources outside of that crowdfunding that you mentioned?
Yes, I am. I do have one of my colleagues in the community sent a grant calendar, an annual grant calendar. I'm currently in the process of applying for St. Luke's Foundation. So I've been working on that. So I definitely am pursuing other opportunities to help support funding, seeking supervision.
And as you look to Accelerate 2024 and see that there'll be new individuals coming through, what would you recommend to others who are thinking about applying and being a part of this event?
Research, knowing your topic, and just having fun and enjoying it. It is an experience of a lifetime. I will never forget this opportunity. It definitely is a core memory for sure. So definitely enjoying the process. I think for me, I was so in my head about, the performance part that I, didn't get a chance to just really enjoy the journey. And so I would, recommend that as individuals apply, is do it with confidence and enjoy the process. And if it's one of those things, you pitch an idea this year and maybe it's not selected, don't give up and continue to tweak it. Because your idea is an idea for a reason, and hopefully at some point your dream idea can become a vision and it can manifest and support our community. So that would be my suggestion.
And Brittany, I'm actually going to look to you with the same question. You have been a part of Accelerate for quite a few years now. What would you recommend to those who are interested in being a part of this event?
I was just thinking what Anycia said I was like, I'm glad we're recording this. That is the soundbite. Yeah, I love what you said, Anycia, about talking about a dream, how it becomes a vision. You have a plan and that's a vision. The people that have come to this event and pitched over the years are people who have some lived experience that have helped them identify a challenge in our community, and they have an idea, they have a dream that can become a vision to address it. And the most important thing is to apply, take advantage of all the opportunities the Leadership Center has to perfect your pitch, and don't give up. I mean, all the things you just said, that's what I would say.
Right. Well, Brittany, Anycia, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation today. Anycia, again, congratulations. And we are so excited to watch you make progress over the next few years with your platform. And Brittany, we thank you and Citizens so much for the support of Accelerate. And with that, I'm going to bring back Mary Ann.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Anycia. Thank you, Brittany. Anycia, several words that you said are going to ring in my mind and I think can guide all of us. And that was, the need was greater than my comfort. What an inspiration. Thank you for taking the time and manifesting the courage to pitch.